Week 11 is here. It's time for my NFL picks. Welcome back to the Green Means Go channel. It's your host, me. This candle back here that you cannot see anymore is almost burnt out, and we can't get a new one until we are at 1,000 subscribers. So if you're new here and you don't mind subscribing, click that sub button. Help me out, not only as I grow this channel, but also as I get a new candle. Let's look at our tracking, and guys, it's not pretty, especially for the spread bets. We are 21-33 overall. Again, guys, I am not sharper than Vegas. I'm not claiming to be a sharp bettor. I do this for entertainment. The money I make sports betting is from promotions, is from arbitrage, is from hedging, is from middles. That is how I make my money sports betting. It's not necessarily being sharp. But I did this as a little experiment and for fun. So my best bets are 2-1. My green picks are 6-6, and everything else we don't have to talk about. As for totals, my green picks are 6-3, so we are positive there. My best bets are 2-1 there as well, and we have a winning record everywhere else also. So 32-25 overall on the totals. Let's look at Week 11. This Thursday night matchup should be a good one. The Bengals visit the Ravens, and the Ravens have now had 4 home games in 5 matchups, so I think that is advantage Ravens here. Both of these teams are coming off of a loss. The Bengals, interestingly enough, are 0-4 when they've allowed 21 points, and I just think the Ravens have more shot than not to get to that 21. However, in those 4 losses, 2 of them have come by 3, so the spread is 3.5. That's why it's a red pick, okay? I think the Bengals have the advantage if this game is low scoring, but I'm not sure it's going to be. That's why the under 46 is a red pick. The Bengals also have a brutal next 3 games. This is the start of that brutal stretch, so I am just not so sure about this Cincinnati team. I just think if the Ravens can score in this one, they win. So give me -3.5 for the Ravens and under 46.5 in very low confidence picks. I want to come out and say that Watson has just been declared out for the season. He is going to go have surgery on his shoulder. So I did not change any of this. So, I don't even know if I'm going to count this game in my tracking. Before that injury news broke, I did think that Browns -3.5 was the side and under 36.5 was the side for the total. I think the Steelers, this is a tough road game for them. I think they will have offensive struggles against this defense. And if they can't beat Green Bay at home convincingly, I don't know if they can beat the Browns on the road. They've also had an easier last 5 games than the Browns have had. The Browns lost 22-26 in week 2 versus the Steelers, but that game was in Pittsburgh. I think this is a much better, much easier matchup at home. The Browns have won 4 out of their last 5, and they've played solid teams, so that stands out to me. Their defense plays better at home. I think if the Browns can score 21 points in this game, they win. Again, I probably would stay away from this just because I am not sure what's going to happen. I do think P.J. Walker starts, and I do think he, in some ways, looks better than Watson as of late. So we're moving on. The game in Detroit is not one I'm super interested in. The Bears do get Justin Fields back, even though Tyson Bagent has looked competent in recent games. Now, the Lions do allow points to good teams. They've allowed 30 points multiple times this season, but I don't know if the Bears are what we would call a good team. So if I had to make a pick in this one, it would be Lions -9.5 in a low confidence pick and an under 46.5, just because this is a divisional game. Lions scored a lot last week. I think we see some regression. This one's very interesting to me. You have the Chargers visiting Green Bay, and they are 3-point road favorites. I think this is a must-win game for the Chargers. I think they're on the outside of the playoffs looking in, and I mean looking in with binoculars. They are pretty far away. This AFC is a tough conference this year. Their losses this year have been to Miami, Kansas City, Dallas, and Detroit, and 3 out of the 4 of those losses were by 3 points or less. So this team has played a really tough schedule. They've played against playoff teams, and they've barely lost in 75% of those games. So I think this is a solid team that should respond well, and I think, if anything, it is Eckler o'clock in this one. I think he should have a big game against this Packers defense, who has looked bad against the run as of late. Now, Green Bay does have a win versus a Staffordless Rams team. They had an 18-point fourth quarter comeback against New Orleans, and they beat Chicago week 1. Outside of that, they've lost, and they've lost to bad teams. So I just think while this defense may be decent at times if it can stop the run. The offense has looked bad all year. So I don't think they're going to be able to keep pace with this Chargers offense. So Chargers -3 is a high confidence pick, and I would lean under 43.5. I don't know if the Packers get to 20 in this one. So that is why I like the under. 12.5 feels like too many points here for the Raiders. I know they're on the road where Miami has played better. And I know that the Raiders have just played 2 back-to-back New York teams, which should pad their stats a little bit. I do think their coach and quarterback changes are a net positive. And if they can slow down the run, which has been a weakness from this team, I do think that 12.5 becomes much more tempting. Now, Miami is coming off a bye, and they're allowing 25 points per game. So this, there's an opportunity here for Aiden O'Connell to come in and put up some points. And I actually think the bye hurts this team. I know they just lost to Kansas City, but a loss to Kansas City, then you get a week off to kind of think about it. I just don't think it's good for this team that likes to play fast. And I think emotionally would have done better to come in against a weaker opponent, put up points, and get back into it. So I think this loss has kind of hung over their head a little bit. 2 weeks ago, they played the New England Patriots, and it was a 31-17 game, and I just think that the Raiders are much better than the New England Patriots. So I see them keeping it closer than that 14 points. So give me 12.5 all day. I also think that we could see over 46.5. Both of these average confidence picks. I cannot believe I have an extremos bestis Green Means Go stamp of approval on an over in a Giants game, but here I am, and here I do. Plus 9.5, I think, is the side, although it is low confidence. This is what it comes down to. The Giants, yes, are a bottom 3 offense, but they're also a bottom 5 defense. Washington is an average offense with a bottom 3 defense. So even though the Giants cannot get anything going offensively, I do think another week for DeVito at practice as the starter helps him get into some rhythm. They did put up 17 points against Dallas, although it was a blowout. So how hard was Dallas trying? I think 17 points in this one is enough that we can see that over 17-20 is the over in this, and I can absolutely see that final score. So give me the over 36.5 in a Giants game as my best total bet of the week. This game's ugly to me. I think Dallas going on the road in a 1 o'clock game after a blowout at home is just a tough spot. It's a tricky spot, and it's not a spot I like. I think they could get caught sleeping here a little bit, similar to their game against the Cardinals on the road. The Panthers come off a mini bye week, having played on Thursday. I don't think they'll win, but I think if they can contain Dak enough, they can squeeze out this 10.5 number. So give me over 41.5 and plus 10.5 for the Panthers and the... You see the green high confidence bet with the Jaguars -6.5. The Titans have lost 4 out of their last 5. Their only win in that stretch is against Atlanta, which does not impress me at all. I think their offense will struggle against this Jacksonville defense. Now, the Titans defense has been decent even in losses, but I think the Jaguars possess more weapons that they will want to get going after last week's loss. And so I like Jacksonville to cover that -6.5 easily this week. This is a must-win game for the Jaguars, I believe. Houston is right on their tail, and we'll talk about Houston on the next game. But Houston has a pretty easy matchup this week and should win. So I think, again, this is a must-win spot for Jacksonville. Their defense needs to show up after allowing 30 points last week at home, and I think they will. And so does their offense, who only scored 3 points. So I think this is more of an emotional and psychological pick than it is a statistical one. But I do like -6.5 and an under 39, but he says that through gritted teeth. Speaking of the AFC South, we have the Texans hosting the Cardinals. The Texans are 4-point favorites, and my kid just spilled all the crackers on the floor. But it is a Green Beans Go Extra Most Bestest stamp of approval, game of the week, pick of the lock, decade of the year, -4. And here's why. Last week, Atlanta did win, but it was against Atlanta, who I have said in my rankings video is one of the worst teams in the NFL, easiest schedule, but they still lose, yada, yada. I think this is a back to reality game, and I do think that Kyler Murray struggles against Houston. This is a team in Houston that believes in itself. Their confidence is at an all-time high. The playoffs are in sight. Now, they have been high scoring lately, but I think some regression is probably coming, so that's why I like the under. But I just think that 6.5 as a spread is closer to fair than 4 is, and I wouldn't be surprised if this ticks to 5.5 by kickoff. A home game, a perfect spot, division in sight. Give me Texans -4 all day long and twice on this Sunday. This game in Santa Clara is not one I have a good read on. Tampa Bay had a solid win last week versus Tennessee. It snapped a 4-game losing streak, and I just don't think this freaking... My child, like, she's literally putting the crackers back in the bag, and then she gets back up on the couch and dumps them all again. This is the 3rd time she's just done that, okay? She's now dumped the entire bag is on the... You guys, it's not easy. It's not easy. So this game, ultimately, I think the Niners are back on track after their win. This game is cursed. Read it. We're moving forward. I just want to take a second to say that I record all my videos usually when my daughter is at school on Tuesdays and Thursdays, or when she's with Nana on Wednesdays. Now, Nana couldn't watch her today. It's Wednesday. I needed to get this video out to you by Thursday. I want to be consistent. And so, yes, she's sitting here watching some Bluey. She happened to spill her crackers multiple times. Okay, I'm trying to do this video quick so that I can go back to being a father, all right? But again, guys, this is real life. This is tough, okay? I want to do this for a living, but when you have a toddler, it makes it difficult, and she needs to go potty right on cue. I will never talk about Seattle facing the Rams because they consistently have problems with the Rams year in and year out. This goes back to when the Rams were in St. Louis. So give me Rams +1 and under 46.5 in very low confidence picks. I don't know what is going to happen this game. I think Seattle plays in too many close games, but this is a must-win game. In quotes, San Francisco starting to run away with the division again, I believe, and so they have to take this win against an under 500 team in the Rams, but I'm not sure they will. Stafford comes back. There's too many questions. It's a skip for me. This is a complete hard pass. The Bills just, I don't know. Okay, I was wrong. I thought Super Bowl contenders. It's not even close right now. Under 40, I think both defenses show up in this one. Jets +7, I guess. Hard pass, hard pass. I'd take the Bills at 5.5, but not at 7. So I would not recommend betting on this game at all. This game in Denver is a bit of a weird one. We have Minnesota, who has won 5 straight games, 2 of which happened with Joshua Dobbs, who could not be doubted, cannot be stopped. Denver, though, has won 3 straight, beating Kansas City and Buffalo. A weird game to me. I don't know how Minnesota is going to do on the road. That is why their +2 is low confidence, but I can't fade Joshua Dobbs right now. Under 43.5 would be my pick. Both of these defenses have looked good in the last few weeks, and I think Denver's been tested playing powerful offenses in Kansas City and, I guess, Buffalo, even though as of late that's a question mark. So give me under 43.5 with a little more confidence than +2. Ultimately, I'd probably skip this one as well. And our Monday night matchup, a Super Bowl rematch, probably the game of the week. We have bookend games of Cincinnati, Baltimore, Philadelphia, Kansas City. That's beautiful. You can get Philly +3 at some places right now, and if you can, I would. A lot of places have already gone to 2.5, though, and so that kind of makes me a little more nervous. Both of these teams are coming off a bye. Philadelphia, though, I think has the variety on offense with their pass, run, and quarterback play to beat Kansas City, and they're going to give Kansas City looks that they have not had all year. I think this bye actually helps Philadelphia, and it helps them prep for Kansas City's offense, which is a lot less potent this year than it has been in the past. Now, Kansas City has not allowed over 17 points at home all year, which I think... that's the tail of this game right here. But I do think this offense will struggle against Philly's defense. That's why I like the under 45.5 a little bit more than I like the +3. I think Travis Kelce will be jet lagged from his trip to Argentina watching Taylor Swift. Okay, not really, but maybe it's a talking piece. So that's my pick for this game. I do like the under, but I would be careful picking a side in this one. If I had to pick, it would be Philly. Thank you guys for your patience this week. If you watched it all, I appreciate it. Again, we're working with what we have, and hopefully in 3 years, I've grown this channel to be sizable, and she's in kindergarten, and I am doing this for a living. But in the meantime, we just keep pressing forward. We'll see you next week or next time. I'll have some college picks soon, probably. I don't know. I need some more coffee.